Welcome to Farscape Continue's second deep dive into the original series of Farscape. And we turn to the second episode of that original series, which is IET. Yes, IET is the second episode no matter what any other source says. Several, if not all, of the media channels currently showing Farscape episodes are showing them in the wrong order.
Oh look, I'm new to all this escaped prisoner crap, all right?
IET is definitely the second episode because the inhabitants of Moya are awakened by the Paddock Beacon. This is the immediate consequence of them removing the control collar in the first episode premiere.
It's a Paddock Beacon. It starts broadcasting unless it gets a regular signal from the control collar, which we removed.
The Paddock Beacon is a basic peacekeeper security measure similar to one of those invisible fence collars you put on dogs.
The external broadcast is increasing exponentially. If there's a peacekeeper patrol within a quarter-light cycle, they know exactly where we are.
Pilot, can the device be removed?
I'm running diagnostics now. Even if it can be removed, it will take time.
Meanwhile, we're broadcasting our position like a two-headed, drunken shrill singer.
Crichton, establishing a pattern, comes up with a plan to save them from the two-headed, drunken shrill singer, whatever that is.
What, pilot? This system we're passing through, the middle planet, it's got water, right?
30% surface moisture.
What, and take Moya down onto the planet's surface?
Well, she can do that, right? Right?
And further establishing a pattern, the others look around dumbly and go along with Crichton's far-bought plan. So, before the opening credits, we are treated to the dramatic scene of Moya landing in the mud of an unidentified planet.
You okay?
Okay. No, I'm not okay. We're in the mud.
You're aquatic. What's your problem?
Aquatic? That's water, not mud. Mud is mud. You can't breathe in it. You can't move in it. It holds you. It grabs you. It sucks you down. You want to know about mud? I know about mud.
God knows mud.
Now, I want to break in here briefly and acknowledge that quite a few Farscape fans don't much like this episode. I can understand why. This is one of Farscape's few Star Trek-like episodes, by which I mean an easy-in, easy-out plot that doesn't always make sense, with far too human aliens and too many standard sci-fi cliches. In the episode's defense, because it was intended as the second episode, the plot and secondary characters are deliberately made more accessible to the audience who are familiar with standard TV fare. That's why the main writer on this episode was someone who wrote for regular sitcoms. Hey, Planet Earp was not yet ready for the full craziness of Farscape. They needed to be weaned into it. Those who unfortunately first saw IET out of order as the seventh episode understandably came away with the feeling the show had taken a step backwards. But as the second episode, IET offers us important world building and character establishment in a somewhat familiar mise-en-scène by design. Obviously, the main objective of the episode is to reverse the standard science fiction trope of aliens coming to Earth. Crichton is the alien in a first contact scenario. Crichton's part in the plot is pretty pedestrian. He meets aliens, scares the Dren out of them, makes friends with them, avoids the bad guys, and saves the day. Hooray! Unlike Captain Kirk, Crichton doesn't start making out with the alien female. The more interesting plot elements in IET are found in the pairings of Aaron and Dargo, and Zan and Rigel. On the planet, Aaron and Dargo have their hands full with each other. Two clashing egos sitting in a tree, continuing the tension between them from the first episode. There can only be one alpha male per tree.
Listen, Aaron, if you have a problem with my strategy...
I should have known that this would be Luxon's strategy. It's probably why you did so well against the Grisoldians.
Grisoldians? What do you know of them?
Oh, everyone knows about that battle. How the Luxons went screaming into retreats.
That, unfortunately, is the last we hear about Luxon history in the original series. Such a shame. Aaron returns to Moya, leaving Dargo to rescue Crichton. But Dargo the warrior is the one who ends up needing rescuing. I mentioned Dargo's inadequacy in my character study video on him. He blusters a lot, but he isn't that good of a warrior. This is the first instance of that, and we will see others in episodes to come. This is the first step in Farscape's demolishing of science fiction tropes and stereotypes. Meanwhile on Moya, Zan and Rigel have to save Moya. We learned in the first episode that Zan is a priest, and Rigel is a deposed Dominar. Rigel, showing his sense of privilege, is initially reluctant to help.
Somebody's got to go in there.
Oh, no. You covered me in mud because I have no say. But in this, I have a say. And I say no. Get someone else to do your dirty work.
Zan, showing her calm spiritual presence, has to persuade him.
If this is about me climbing around on the ship's entrails, then you can simply turn round and go back the way you came.
With permission, Your Eminence.
Yes.
Pilot's done all that he can, but the device won't allow a DRD or anything metal near it.
And what about the great ship's pain?
Among my sect, I am a 9th level Pa'u. A priest of that level can harbor the power to share another being's pain. I'll do all that I can to alleviate Moya's discomfort.
This is an awfully big ship.
Don't I know it?
Rigel rises to the occasion, as does Zan.
Here goes.
Continue. Rigel, you must continue.
Farscape, again demolishing science fiction tropes, shows us Rigel's vulnerability.
Pilot? Pilot? Pilot! As though you'll get the chance before we're all crushed. Or I kill the ship myself.
You're afraid. You're afraid this great ship will die.
I don't know what I'm doing. I've always had others to do for me. Even in prison, I don't even know how to hold a tool.
This is one of our early glimpses into the complexities of our characters. Rigel's bluster is his attempt to cover up his feelings of guilt and inadequacy. But the plucky little slug does manage to come through and remove the paddock beacon.
It's done. It's done!
The beacon is no longer broadcasting.
I did it. I did it. I did it!
That's not a selfish, egotistical, self-centered little Dominar. That's the elation of someone unsure of their capabilities. Throughout Farscape, Rigel vacillates between strong feelings of self-doubting inadequacy and self-centered vibrato, attempting to hide his inadequacy. Zan shows her strength, though in a fairly expected gender role of caretaker and suffering healer as she helps save Moya. Almost as a side plot, Crichton returns to Moya, having rescued Dargo and finding the chlorium to help heal Moya. So what does IET accomplish? We see the compassionate side of Crichton. We see that the inhabitants of Moya can work together, though not without considerable tension.
Do it without me.
But you're the only one small enough. Come on.
And we get strong clues that Farscape is not going to stay in the standard trajectory of science fiction shows. IET is definitely not in even the top 50 Farscape episodes, but it serves its purpose, again, as the second episode. This episode takes a satirical swipe at human society. The unnamed aliens on the planet are obviously an allegory for human shortcomings.
Crichton, He says that this primordial rock actually reminds him of his Earth.
No interplanetary travel, retrograde technology, fossil fuel burning ground vehicles. He is a savage.
Farscape is never as strident in its criticism of the 20th century as Star Trek always was from its original series, but Farscape doesn't deny that we have a lot of awakening and growing up yet to do. I'll initiate 2 deep dive regular features here. The first is what we learned in this episode, and the second is ponderables. 1. Hynerians are aquatic, but clearly are air breathers. 2. There are 6 forbidden cargoes for Leviathans. Chlorium is one of these because it has a numbing effect. 3. Peacekeepers are divided between techs and infantry. 4. Zan is a 9th level Pa'u priest, though what that means is not explained. 5. A standard unit of time is called an Arn. We'll see that term many times to come. 6. Rigel uses the word Shaltan as an expletive, the first of many euphemistic swear words in the series. 7. The Luxans fought a war with the Chrysolians. Again, we hear nothing else about Luxan history. Yes, ponderables, things that make you think or just plain don't make sense in a show. IET makes several homages to the film E.T., including the strong white backlighting as Fostro opens the barn door, the anxious mom protecting her son, the sinister military men, and so on. It's very deliberately an attempt to help audiences connect to the new show Farscape. However, though Crichton should be able to understand the inhabitants of the planet because of the translator microbes with which he was injected, they do not have them, and so they should not be able to understand Crichton. Crichton asks Linnea for star charts and deep space photographs, hoping he might recognize something, constellations, galaxies. Constellations seen from Earth can only be seen from Earth because a constellation is nothing but the alignment of stars at a particular location. To navigate interstellar space, Crichton would need to have memorized a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy, not star charts of constellations on Earth or Linnea's planet. The behavior of the planet's military foreshadows the action in A Human Reaction, episode 16. And finally, though we never hear the name of this planet or its people in the episode, the writers referred to the planet as Dinea in their own notes. That's all I have for this time. If you like these deep dive episodes, please support it by clicking on the link below or going to farscapecontinues.com and clicking on the donate button. Thank you for watching and listening.